Hey, hello, and welcome to Washington Dulles International Airport. Where's the paint on the airplane? Something's missing here. Welcome to the Spy Flight on YouTube. Hello, I'm Dave. I do the Spy Flight over on Twitch, and every now and then you'll find me over here on YouTube with something that's a little bit more involved here, at least as far as information that you can use on big VATSIM events and new airplanes and stuff like that. And here today to talk about the biggest event ever on VATSIM. It's called Cross the Pond. And it is VATSIM's biggest event. They do it twice a year. And this is such a big event. There's 2,000 airplanes jamming the sim skies over the Atlantic. So this one takes a little bit more flight planning. So let's talk about some of the add-ons I'm using. SkyVector, I'm using that, SimBrief and SimToolkit Pro, Navigraph charts and data. Pushback Helper, that's some of you might need that depending upon the airplane you're using. It is free at flightsim.to. And I'm going to be flying the PMDG 737-800. I'm going to be flying it as the BBJ-2, that's the business jet with the extended range tanks. So this thing called Cross the Pond. I know lots of words up on the screen here, but there's a couple of things that you should be doing right now. We are about a week away from the big blast off of Cross the Pond. And there's a couple of things to be doing, like checking your route with SkyVector. What is that all about? Well, SkyVector, where's my SkyVector? There it is. So let's look at SkyVector here. This is my route. Washington Dulles to Dusseldorf. You should put your route in here too. Important safety tip about SkyVector. See over here on the far right hand side where it says sign in. This is a real world flight planner. If you are a flight simmer, you don't need to have a real world account to be using SkyVector. And if you hit file the flight plan, you've just filed a real world flight plan. So, you know, again, this is a great tool for flight simmers, but you don't have to go and log in or anything. And it looks like I'm going to be about 3,452 miles, as you know, if crows could fly that far. So this is a good first step for you as far as Cross the Pond. What's the next step? Download and save your oceanic arrival and departure PDFs. What's that all about? Well, come on back to the web browser. You need to go to the Cross the Pond website. It is ctp.vatsim.net. And what you do is you should be logged into VATSIM. You might have to. And once you're logged in with your pilot ID, go to your dashboard. This is what you probably, when you went and you did your original slot reservation, you saw this. Well, now if you take a look, you might start to see some briefing files. Okay, so this is really cool. Like here is the EDDL briefing. This is my arrival airport. And so this is the PDF. Once you get a briefing file, save it to your desktop. Save it to your desktop. This is something you're going to need. This has got arrival frequencies. So we're going to be coming in via Langen radar. In Europe, Americans, we would use approach and departure control. They call them directors in Europe. So we would talk to director, tower, and ground. This is also going to give us when you leave the runway. If they're landing on 23 left, they'd like you to leave via the Lima 8 taxiway. See, it's really great information. And you're going to need it during the flight. So that's why I say save those files to your download folder. What's next? Look for your assigned routes. Okay, so looking for your assigned routes. That's going to be back over here, and your assigned route is going to be down here. See where it says route details and nothing's here yet? 6 to 12 hours before the event, go in there and you will find your route in there. So be sure that you check back 6 to 12 hours. I will probably look about 24 hours just to see, but really 6 to 12 hours is what you're going to do on that one. Start your flight very, 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 very much on time. Okay, you know that takeoff time number that you got here? It's over here on your reservation. So my takeoff time on October 22nd of 2022 is 14:04 Zulu. That is when you are, that's when you're taking off. That's your takeoff time. So you got to kind of do what old school broadcasters like me when I was in radio, we would have to back time a record to hit a live event or something like that. So you need to back time your departure. And there's a really great way to do that. Do you have an old boarding pass? from the real world, well, chances are your boarding pass is going to give you an idea of what kind of back timing they do for the flight. So your departure time, they will tell you when boarding begins and when boarding ends. And so I've come up with this back timing chart here. Okay, start at the bottom, and it says pushback 00, and my pushback time is 1335 Zulu on this chart. So what that tells me is 10 minutes before pushback, I need to be closing the doors. That's 1325 Zulu. Now at 12:55, that's when boarding begins, and I'm going to take a 737. If you're taking a smaller Airbus, if you're taking the 747, maybe, and you're using something like GSX, you might want to have 40 minutes or something like that as far as your boarding time. 10 minutes before you start boarding, that's when you want to be powering up your airplane and starting the fueling process. And then 10 minutes before that is when you should be grabbing your charts. Your airplane should be at the gate. So basically, my back timing chart there is 1 hour before my slot departure. Here's the thing, my slot departure says just for pushback. You see at the bottom line, pushback? That's not my takeoff time. So we need to add 10 minutes to that already. So now we're talking an hour and 10 minutes. But then there's other stuff. Microsoft Flight Simulator, if you're going to fly that one, is notoriously long loading. So if you're going to fly X-Plane 11, my X-Plane 11 takes forever to load. So my general rule of thumb is 90 minutes before my takeoff time, I'm starting up the flight simulator. Okay, 90 minutes. I realize that sounds a little ridiculous, but on the other hand, there's 2,000 airplanes. And if you're not ready to go for your takeoff time, you're going to be sitting at the gate for a long time. So again, seriously, keep a close eye on getting everything started and ready to go. Once you do get out to the airport like this, or you're ready, or actually before you're ready to go and put the airplane at the gate, like you see my airplane is here, one of the things I like to suggest that you do is come on over here and take a look at SimAware. And here is SimAware for Dulles Airport. And you can see that there's a green thing here. That is somebody, United Airlines flight 1720 is just pushed back from their gate over here. Well, on Cross the Pond Day, there's going to be little green airplanes all over SimAware. But what you can do is use this to figure out where there is an open gate. So over here at Dulles, it doesn't really have them set up too terribly well here. You can't actually see the gates, but okay, there's this little bulge out here, this little block over here in the Charlie Concourse. So if you've gone and gotten your charts, you look at the parking gates. Hey, here's this little block over here. Maybe Charlie 19 is going to be a good gate for us to go to. Nobody's there, so that's how you avoid spawning on top of somebody. And you can see this airplane is actually, nope, we've got this airplane. This is a new one that just popped in, United 204, going to, no, this one just arrived from Boston. Got an airplane that just arrived from Boston. How about that? So this is how it is that you can go and avoid spawning on top of another airplane. Because especially in Microsoft Flight Simulator, it takes forever. If you're like me, my setup, be sure you go in and do real world weather, real world time. Make sure you're all set up with those things too. Okay, so what are some of the things? We've got the airplane, we're on VATSIM, we're at a gate, we didn't spawn on somebody. First thing I do in my airplane is I come down here and I do what I call jiggle the controls. Okay. We all have USB controllers, right? So I'm going to go and make sure that now it's moving really slow right now because the hydraulics aren't on, but they're moving. That's the important point. Let's go down here. Do my rudder pedals work? Yeah, rudder pedals are connected. How about my throttles? Yay, throttles are working. How about speed brakes? Now, the flap lever doesn't work too well for me on my airplane, so I don't have the flap lever set up on this, but all that's good. My gear lever is down. Let's make sure that that's there too. This is the whole point of all of this, is to make sure that everything is connected in your computer and it works right now, because you don't want to be troubleshooting this stuff later on. That's just no fun at all. Okay. I recommend that you do a couple of flights here between now and cross the pond day. So one of the flights that I was going to do and I will be doing next week is I'm going to depart from my departure airport and I'm going to go someplace that's about 45 minutes away. So come on down here and I'll look here. Well, there's Dulles. I could go up to New York or Boston. Just do a flight out of your departure airport right now. Make sure that you're, really bright, you remember where all the gates are. Okay. You remember where all the runways are. Take a look. Departure that I got for a flight up to Boston this morning has got me going out on the Jacoby for departure. Okay, well, how do we do Jacoby? Okay, if we're going to take off on runway 30, which is what they're probably going to do, we take off after 820 feet. We can turn to a heading of 320, unless ATC tells us otherwise. And then they're going to give us vectors to rings. And then we go out we go. The other important thing that ATC would really like sim pilots to start doing is looking for this on your charts. It's called the top altitude. And our top altitude on this departure is 3,000 feet. So that's our cleared altitude. Unless, of course, ATC tells us differently. They get to do that. But those are the basics that we're expected to know. So know that one as well. So one flight I'm going to do this week is I'm going to do a flight up to Boston, just so that I remember how to fly out of Washington, Dulles. Another flight that I'm going to do is I'm going to do a flight into Dusseldorf. So let's see, what do we got? We've got Rotterdam, there's Amsterdam. Doesn't have to be a long distance flight. I just want to do a flight into Dusseldorf and see, okay, does my scenery work okay? What would be the approaches in? Now, this is a flight that I have set up to Boston. So look at the approach in there. Take a look at the runway layout. Make just a quick refamiliarization flight going into your airport is a really good thing. So those are two flights that I suggest you do. Another thing that I suggest you do is, so you probably noticed I usually fly over on Twitch as United 441. Well, this does not look like a United jet. Nope. It's got a plain wrapper on there. No logos or anything. This is the 737-800, but this is the business jet version. Okay. We don't have, so the really great airplanes that we have, the Mad Dog, the Phoenix A320, the PMDG line of 737s. This is one of the few airplanes that will make it across the pond. Now, there's a couple of other airplanes. They don't have quite all the bells and whistles that, say, the Phoenix, the Mad Dog, and the PMDG have. So I think there's going to be a lot of business 737s flying across the pond this time around. So that's why I'm going to be flying this one. I haven't really done this before, so a familiarization flight in this is going to be really good. The cockpit is actually a little bit different than the United 737 that I fly. So one of the things I'm doing is making sure that all of my buttons, all of my views are in good shape, including those cabin views. You got to have a cabin view and see the wings, right? We're simulator pilots. That's what we're expected to do. Okay, so we've got all these and we can look and we can see everything that we need to see, particularly the radios. We got to be able to tune those radios and tune them fast. Okay, so those are a good number of things to do. Another important thing to do is preload your airplane a couple days before with a route to your airport. Make sure your airplane can actually handle it. See, I've never actually jammed as much fuel as I'm expected to jam into this airplane. So let's do that right now. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to launch our good old friend here, Sim Brief Downloader. And I'm going to download my flights. And there we are, IAD to EDDL. There we go. Our flights are loaded. Let's also go and get the flight plan out of SimBrief. So here is a SimBrief flight plan from Dulles to Dusseldorf. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to save that just like I do for a normal flight. I'm not going to fly the thing, but I am going to go ahead and save this as an active flight plan over there. All right, so we got that going out there. Let's go ahead and call it up and take a look at the numbers. So for this flight today, I got to load 46,927 pounds of fuel into this bird. Let's see if we can do that. So come on down here. We can go to FS Actions. We can go to Ground Services. And you can see ground power is there. We can go ahead and call the jetway. Let's just go call the jetway. Gotta have a jetway, right? If we've got nice jetways like this. This is a payware airport for Dulles. I think I found a payware airport for Dusseldorf. I think for Cross the Pond, it's worth a payware airport for departure and arrival, a really good one. Okay, so here comes our jetway. Wheel chocks are set. Ground power's in. Let's go to the next page. So, oops, nope, I didn't want to remove those. There we go. Okay, let's go over and do, ground power is disconnecting. Oh boy, I shouldn't have hit that button. I thought I was hitting next. Okay. Okay, let's request ground power back in. Okay, now we're going to go to the next page. So let's see if this will take the fuel. 46427. 46427. Well, it took it. Reduced to capacity. Uh-oh. My capacity is 4556. I may need to make a change here. Let's go and return. Ground services, maintenance. No, let's go over here and let's do PMDG setup. I think I need to add some fuel. We're going to go over here to the aircraft. Equipment. Honeywell Collins, after takeoff, wings level, glide slope capture, auto land, BBJ. Nope, that's not it. Engines, data link, EG, PWS, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's ETOPS, yes. Dual battery, yes. ETOPS cargo fire, FMS, FMS2, fuel, auxiliary fuel system. There we go. Aft tanks. Aft tanks 3. Forward tanks. One, two. Oh, I can only have 2 forward tanks and 3 aft tanks. Okay, what did this do for me? What did this do? Am I done there? Oh, I can have a 4th aft tank. A 5th aft tank. Okay, so I can have 5 aft tanks. There's 5 aft tanks. And there's 2 forward tanks. So I can have 2 forward and 5 aft. Okay, and what does that give me for fuel capacity? 6947. Ooh, very nice. I think I need to hold on to that. Standard instruments, BBJ, yaw damper, performance, short field, blah, 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 carbon brakes. There's page 14. LED lights, air stairs are installed. Wi-Fi antenna. Oh, we got to have Wi-Fi. This is a BizJet. Okay, there we go. We got a Wi-Fi BizJet. Good. And there is page 16. I think that's looking good. Okay, so all of that's great. Now we've got that in there. Fixed configuration. I'm going to leave this configuration and I'm going to call it SPY. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Restore from original, load from another, return to setup. So that's a fixed config. Let's go back to setup. Startup state is SPY. Let's save the state. And we're going to call it SPY. S-P-Y. Just in case. And execute it. Saving the panel state. I'm going to assume that that includes my fuel. Oops, I guess we have to wait a second here. It's still saving the state. We are in quite a state now. This is why you go ahead and try and do this. Aha, there we go. Successfully saved to SPY. All right, menu, FS actions, ground services, jetway is still in place, power is still on. I think I've got my main door open. Let's go ahead and try and put the fuel in again, 46427. How about 47427? This is cross the pond. We need a little extra fuel for holding, right? Hey, look at that. We can load the fuel. Let's go and get the fuel truck. While we're waiting for the fuel truck, let's go ahead and we're going to do battery. Ooh, I don't hear anything. What's going on? Oh, you see, when I was playing the music, I turned the simulator sounds down. Here's another safety tip for you. You recognize this, the volume mixer? Yeah, this is the volume mixer. And I have volume mixer set up, not because I'm a live streamer or anything like that. I have volume mixer because some ATC is very, very soft spoken. I mean, there's some ATC people that you cannot hear just at all. So the deal is I've got volume mixer over here so that if I've got, so I use vPilot to talk to ATC. I've got vPilot cranked up if I need to, but if I still can't hear them, I can turn the airplane down. And I will have a chance of being able to hear the ATC. Okay? Great safety tip there. All right, so let's go on down here. And let's go back over here. Let's go to the menu page, FS Actions, Ground Services, and let's go over here and we're going to do fueling. And fueling, let's start. 47,000. What time is it? Let's see, there's got to be a clock here, isn't there? It's 15:09 Zulu. I'm going to go to my flight notes here. 15:09 Zulu. I just jotted that down for fueling to begin. We're putting a lot of fuel in this airplane. I want to see how long it takes for the fuel to show up. Okay, I mean, there we go. Let's go to the FMC. Make sure your nav data, if you got Navigraph, make sure your data's up to date. We're good to go. So we can look up here and we can come on up here and we can do nav. And nav, if we want to, we can be good pilots and turn the brightness up on this guy and turn that up and go to heading and status. Should be an initial 0 and then we'd be able to monitor the alignment on that. Okay, so while after that we can go to position in it. We're at KIAD, Washington Dulles. We are also at gate Charlie 19. Charlie 19. Some airports know gates, others don't. Look at that, it knows the gates. Let's put our gate position in, and there we go. Fueling, we've got 7,000 pounds of fuel aboard the airplane, so that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and do the rest of our payload here. So over here on the Lido style of charts, let's come on down here. And passengers, 45 passengers. It's a biz jet, so we don't have a lot of passengers. So 45, we have a jetway in place, so we'll put 45. Cargo. Okay, well, this is interesting. So SUVs are removed. What are we going to do for cargo? It says payload is 11. So let's see here. .5. So we need to put 5.5 here and 5.5 there. Okay, SUVs are removed. I don't know how to get them. What happens if I click them? I have 3 SUVs. I don't know how to start these. So I'm going to have to go and look in some sort of a PMDG thing. This is the time to do it. Let's give it a shot. PMDG 737 BBJ2 load cargo. Let's just see what we get. So PMDG 737 for Microsoft Flight Simulator, ground operations and payload. Ground operations and payload. Hello all, I've been trying to use ground ops for boarding, fuel, BBJ ground movement people, cargo is by SUB, Suburbans haul both to and from the airplane. Great, nothing happening. Ground, blah, 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 blah. Thank you. You have to call for the SUVs on the third page under air stairs. Aha. So on page 3, under air stairs, I don't have air stairs. You have to call for the SUVs. It's on the third page under air stairs, line select key. There's passenger SUVs. Oh, it's inhibited because I have jetways in place. So I can't use a jetway here. It doesn't like jetways. Well, fine, be that way. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to close the jetway. So this is going to get rid of the jetway. We can't have a jetway. This is why you do this a couple days in advance, so you learn these things. Okay, so now that we've got that, now we're going to come over here. So we're going to change from jetways to stairs. And let's go ahead and request the passenger SUVs. And we will, let's request some stairs on the 1L. So we can't, oh, okay, now they're all of a sudden arriving. Oh, wow, there are, oh, wow. Okay. So we got SUVs here, and we should also have some stairs coming. Although this airplane also has its own air stairs, which is pretty cool. So now that those are there, they are connected and we can load cargo. So that's how we have to do cargo. Air stairs are arrival hold. So it appears to be holding for some reason. Don't know why. Let's see how we're doing with fueling. How's the refueling going? So come on back here to page 2. 16,000 pounds of fuel so far. We started at 1509. And the current time on the airplane's 1505. Fueling's taking a while here. So here's the thing. You could also just do instant add. You could instantly add everything, and that would work too. Let's go in and see if we can't grab the route. IAD, request a flight plan. PMDG, and there is Dusseldorf. And select it. Okay, so it's going to load that. Let's see how that loads it in too. These are the kinds of things you do. Okay, make sure that all these little things work. Jetway, if you're using a jetway, oh, okay, here you go. Hang on. If you're using a jetway, call the SUVs first after engine shutdown and before connecting the GPU. Okay, well, that's interesting. So we get to do that. But we're going to probably need to add a little bit more time to our route uplink is ready, so we can load in the route. And route uplink is loading. This is going to be a big route, so it'll be interesting to see if it blows up. Route uplink, okay. Route data uplink is good. Let's go and put in a flight number. 441, and that's good. So we got 5 pages in the route. And then there is our Atlantic track. And there we are coming into Dusseldorf. Activate and execute. Okay, that looks good. There's a bunch of legs. So that's good. How's our fuel coming? We are almost halfway done with our fuel. So almost halfway done. Arrival hold for stairs. So it still doesn't like the stairs. Let's go ahead and extend. Let's see if it'll extend these. Okay, we'll just do that because our arrival hold there so we can go and get those stairs out. Playing around with your airplane, especially if you're not familiar with your airplane like this, is perfect. So that's the way to do that. And let's go back down here and see how the baggage is doing. So baggage is still being loaded, although it didn't open up the baggage doors. So it usually opens up the forward and aft cargo. It didn't do those. But at least we've got our SUVs, so there we go. See, we can come up here, and air conditioning is important. This is a business jet, so let's go and get aft fuel. I think we also need to go ahead and turn on the electric hydraulic pumps and APU. I may be wrong on the electric hydraulic pumps. That's a bit of a gray area. We could also turn on the windshield heaters, and we'll also do the yaw dampers, recirculating fans in case any of our passengers went to Taco Bell. How's our fuel loading going? That's going to be the big thing on this airplane for me. And again, if you get into a time crunch, you could probably just go over and come over here and do fuel and payload. Plug those numbers in and bam, you're done. So that's another way. I'm just not wanting to get rid of all of my immersion here. Oh, look at this. My auxiliary tanks are on. Auxiliary fuel. I now have auxiliary fuel indicated here. This was inoperative before, so we've got that going on. I always like to turn up the brightness here on the backlighting. It just makes it easier for me to see. I'll turn those down. I'll also turn on the background brightness a little bit. I'll also come and do the same thing on the pedestal. The background, the panel lighting is really nice to have, and maybe 2 clicks on the floodlight. Makes everything stand out so much better. How's fueling going? Okay, fueling's looking pretty entertaining here. I'd say we are now approaching halfway. And we started the process at 15:09 Zulu. It's 15:20, so we've been doing this for 10 minutes. We're putting a lot of gas in this airplane. And it still wouldn't load it still wouldn't bring out the one stairway. So let's see here. We could go and install our, we could install our departure. And we're going to go off on runway 30. We're going to do it. What is it? It's Jacoby to Swan. So Jacoby to Swan and execute. Chances are our approved route will not include a star coming in. So we're just not going to bother with a star at this point. We've got hours and hours to get our the star. So I would expect that we probably won't get that for a while. So back to the index page. And just like we thought, after 820 feet, we turn. And then we'll get vectors over to rings. So that looks good. Our initial climb is going to be flight level 350, but it's going to be a step climb. Cruise winds. Oftentimes get a question, where do you find cruise winds? Over on the flight plan, I'm using the default style from SimBrief, which is the Lido style. Average winds for today's flight is right here, below the cost index. So winds are 241 at 39 knots. So 241 at 39 knots. Cost index, that's in the same spot here too. Cost index for today's flight is 60. Cost index is 60. 60. So that goes in there. Reserves. So reserves that I put in here, this is going to be final reserve plus alternate. So final reserve plus alternate is 5.177. So I usually put the whole number in, and it's going to round up the reserves number for me. And so you see it rounded me up to 5.2. So I just popped that one in there. Now that does not include the extra 1,000 pounds that I just added as the captain. So, we've got that one in there. So let's see what's over on performance page 2. Let's see. Time error tolerance. This is new for me. I haven't seen this one yet. That's pretty awesome, though. How's our fuel load going? Oh, look at that. We're at 31,000 pounds. I think that the fuel loading for this airplane, if you're going to go through, if you're going to load it, the PMDG way, is going to be a 20-minute process for fuel. So this has got to be what it's like for people in the real world of aviation. Hurry up and wait. Uh-oh. Almost there. 46,200. We're going to up. There it is. Looks like what? 1,000 pounds to go. What do they say? Airline flying is hours of tedious boredom punctuated by moments of sheer terror with a ton of paperwork. I think there's a couple of 4-letter words that are... Oh, look at that. We're done. How about that? Let's go ahead and release the fuel truck. So fuel truck can detach. Let's come on down here. And everything looks good there. Let's go ahead and we can release the passenger SUVs. Let's also retract the air stairs right now. And while we retract the air stairs, let's return. We're going to go to the doors, and I'm going to close that 1L. Return. Ground services. So ground power is still active. Air stairs, air conditioning. Now I may still have... stairs are arriving, so we got to wait for these stairs because I use the air stairs. Let's look over here and see what's good. We're loaded over here, so all that looks good too. So we're going to go ahead and do something with those, but we can come down here and we can do a few more things. So what's our zero fuel weight? To get that for this airplane, just click it. And we are loading 121.6 is our zero fuel weight. So there is a new calculator that I'm going to be using with this airplane. And that new calculator is called the Topper 737 calculator for takeoff. This is new for me. So this is it right here. We're going to use the 800. We're going to be in Imperial units. We are at KIAD. We're taking off of runway 30. Let's see. I've got old weather right now. So let's go ahead and get a little bit of new weather. We can do that through, let's see, digital and Dulles. Here is our latest weather for Dulles. So Control C, and I'm just going to put these in here. And yes, indeed, I did confirm it takes 20 minutes to load fuel. So 20 minutes on this airplane. Okay, so let's release these stairs. And that looks good. So, latest weather for Dulles. Winds are 220 at 8. So, 22008. There we go. Outside air temperature at Washington, D.C. is, it's 18 degrees. And the altimeter at Washington is 2971. Barometer is falling in Washington. I'm going to go to flaps 10 on this one because we're kind of a heavy airplane. Air conditioning is on, anti-ice is off, and now we got to do the takeoff weight. So this is a learning thing for me here. So the takeoff weight, our zero fuel weight here is 121.6. If you look at the flight plan, our zero fuel weight here was supposed to be 104,225. Okay, so that doesn't look right to me. Takeoff weight, it says 150. You can also get takeoff weight here at 150.7. So I think that those numbers are off a little bit. So I do have a gross weight of 169.2. Obviously, this is a little bit of a rabbit hole that I need to learn to jump down here. See, we can also do, what do we have for page 2 on performance? Time error tolerance. I haven't messed with that yet. But I don't have an exact takeoff weight. And what I'm going to do is try and figure out these numbers here. So over to performance init. It says 169. I'm going to go and put in that gross weight. That's not exact takeoff weight, but it's close enough. So 169,200. Let's see what happens. Well, it gave me numbers. I don't think that that's completely correct, but I think that that's relatively close. So for N1 limits, we are going to derate to 33 degrees, according to my little calculator here. So we're derating to 33 degrees at flaps 10, and 150, 151, and 156. So let's go over to takeoff page. Flaps 10. Hit the center of gravity button, and that should give you your correct center of gravity based on the way you loaded the airplane. And PMDG is giving us 147, 149, 155. The little calculator says 150 for V1, 151 for rotate, and 156 for V2. And then that shows the takeoff weight here of 169.2. So I'm going to use gross weight as takeoff weight for right now. And maybe if I wanted to, I could figure out a way to subtract taxi. But there we go. So our 156 is V2. So dial 156. On my workflow with the Boeing, this is when I turn on flight directors. Flight directors are on. We're going to come on up here. We're going to turn on the APU generators. APU generators are on. Let's also do seatbelts. Let's also arm the emergency exit lights. Disconnect ground power. Turn on the anti-collision lights. And we are ready for pushback. So all of this looks good. Let's go back over here. Doors are closed. We can release ground power. Let's come on down here to do a tug. So push your toe brakes all the way down. Parking brakes going on. We should be squawking mode Charlie because we're about ready to move the airplane. So all of this is nicely cleared. We're going to come over here. We're going to go to pushback. I'm going to do an L. I want the nose to the right. Connect. And start.
Cockpit to ground. Go ahead. We've been cleared for pushback and start. They want the tail to our left. Roger that. Ready to push. Tail to the left. Parking brakes off.
To do parking brakes, you push your toe brakes all the way down, and that releases your toe brakes. Now, this also takes a little bit of time, but this is the point that you want to reach, which is 10 minutes before your takeoff time. So my big back timing calculator there, I think I'm going to be adding more like 30 minutes for boarding and fuel. I'm still going to try and be ready to go. I think I need to start my whole process an hour and 10 minutes. And I'm still kind of guessing. So one of the things that I'm going to do is when I do my little Boston flight, I'm going to go ahead and in my Boston flight, I'm going to keep a close eye on my times and kind of go from there with the idea that we're going to have to do 20 minutes of refueling. Let's see, it's also got 11,000 pounds of auxiliary fuel in here. So we got 11,000 pounds in the auxiliary tank. We can come up here and turn off the packs. Packs are off. We can do the fuel pumps. Wait for the lights to go out. We can go ahead and ground start engine number 1. Engine number 2. I think you start 2 first. And here comes the N2. I'm told, let's see, I think it's about 25%. I was also told it was between 20 and 25%.
Clear
Okay. Parking brakes are... Uh-oh.
Brake set.
My rudder pedal's disconnected. And fuel. And you got to have some wing views. And outside you can come and watch a really nice engine start up too. So we're kind of coming to the end of this video. After doing a little startup like this, I'm obviously going to add a little bit of time for fuel. Fueling is going to be kind of a big deal on this one. So let's see, we'll go ahead and start another engine, and I'm going to start thinking about wrapping stuff up here. We've clearly got a few things to learn, but I know what my to-do list is, and you ought to do a quick check and see what your to-do list is too. As always, when it comes to my videos here on YouTube, this is not about the right way versus the wrong way. This is a learning experience for me too. These are the things that are working for me, and I hope that some of this is going to work for you. As always, leave your questions and comments in chat, and as you leave your questions and comments in chat, I will read them and respond, and might even do a whole new video on that too. Thank you so much for watching. I am looking forward to seeing you on Cross the Pond. Cross the Pond East is Saturday, the 22nd of October. I'll be in the little Boeing with plenty of coffee, and I'll look forward to seeing you too. We'll see you real soon on YouTube, sooner on Twitch. We'll be talking Cross the Pond all week on Twitch. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.